The church has kind of been a fiber to our family, a place where we made friends, where we could be active, where we know we'd have enjoyable and value-centered type experiences. So it's been good for us.
The mission of the United Methodist Church is to make disciples for the transformation of the world. And Bexley United Methodist Church is doing a wonderful job of embracing that vision and living into God's vision for them in their own particular way.
I think about the faith that we were raised in. I think, that was such a part of me when growing up. I want to have my children experience that. There's such a sense of, community amongst the Sunday school age, and also, amongst the youth group, and just being able to give them a solid foundation and give them an opportunity to learn faith early.
It's probably it probably is the best gift I can give my children, to expose them to Christianity in a family environment like this is. And as they grow up and form their own opinions, I feel very comfortable that this church is what's providing that platform for them.
The traditions that come to mind for me that I like the most are two worship services that we do each year. The first is the July 4th service, which I really like because of just the patriotic feel of that. It's a nice combination of worship and patriotism, I guess. And then the second one would be the Confirmation Sunday. This past year, Brett was confirmed, which was especially meaningful. But even before that, I really enjoy that service, watching the kids take that next step.
This church is about family. This church is about including everyone. This church has so many activities and groups and people from all different walks of life that I don't feel like if you came here, you would ever feel out of place.
I guess a wide variety of people that you're going to find somebody you connect with and help you grow in Christ.
It's more than just Sunday morning.
I was on the nursery roll in 1930 when I was born, and so it's been a part of our family for 5 generations. Daddy was a wonderful businessman, and he was able to gather support for raising funds for the new addition, and it was right after the war, so it was a good time that we could enlarge our building and serve the Lord.
Well, I think maybe due to my longevity as a part of this church, I'll use the term a legacy of faith. Because I remember as a young boy, 4 or 5 years old, the stalwarts of the church back then, who were older men and women in their 70s and 80s. And I think back about those folks and the foundation they laid financially and in leadership, spiritual-wise too. That legacy is something that I'm benefiting from now. My sons have benefited from. And certainly for years to come, those who come to this church will benefit from that legacy.
Several months ago then, we got together and started to think about all of this, and one thing led to another, and thought a capital campaign would be appropriate at this time in our church's life to meet the needs of this growing part of our congregation.
And I think as a family we have to grow together, and I think like any family, everybody has their role and can play their part. And what I'm hoping is that they will sense the excitement by being part of it and help us to reach our mission.
When I think about the growth of Bexley United Methodist Church, I think about not just the building that needs some expansion or renovation in ways that will allow for greater worship opportunities and greater church community-wide opportunities, just also how that will bring in community members and people who have never really either heard the word or been a part of a church.
I got thinking of the history of the church, and it was built by a congregation in the 1920s in tough times because the stock market had crashed, and they built the sanctuary, the western part of the church at that time. And then about 30 years later, another group, another congregation came and built the eastern wing, the Christian education wing. And then in the last renovation of the church was 1981. And the sanctuary was redone and the elevator was put in. So now 30 years later, it's time to update the church again. And I think we should do this not only for ourselves and for future congregations, but to honor the past congregations that have stepped up and given this beautiful building to practice and worship in.
One wonderful thing about the plan is that it puts all of us on the same level. We're able to gather in the same space, and then go from that gathering space into a contemporary worship space or into the sanctuary for traditional worship. And so there's great places for us to intersect with each other, and this will really help us overcome the facility barrier of not being able to be together in our church building. And I'm really excited about some of the new friendships that will take place with people who've been coming to this church for quite a while.
I think that what we're talking about doing with this church and the future of this church is so important. It's important to me because I have young children and I want them to be part of something that is going to go long into the future. I want this church to be a church that can be a place where people come from all over the East Side. It could be considered a center of worship for the East Side instead of just a small Bexley church.
And if we don't do it now, when are we going to do it? When we start losing members? So the time is appropriate, the time is now, and we need to keep the church relevant to our community and to Central Ohio.
Because I think being part of a faith-based community is not just going to church on Sunday mornings. It's having a place where you and your family can connect with other families in so many ways during the week. And I think that the expansion that we have planned for this facility is so exciting for the future of this church. And I think the capital campaign, we're very excited to support that, and we can't wait to see what that will bring.
And this is special. This is a little different than giving from your income in itself. This might be transferring an asset that you have, some stocks or something, and to look at that and move that from your account to the church's account. And I feel it's our obligation not only to give our services and our time and our talents, which we've been on many committees and leadership roles, both Barb and I, but also our finances. And so we're proud that we can contribute and help, and we will step up and help this capital campaign also.
This is a chance in our own lives, whatever age we are, to leave a legacy that will remain long beyond the time that we're gone. And I think how many times in our life do we have the opportunity to leave that legacy as young people, as middle-aged people, as children, and as older people? This is such a rare opportunity to leave the legacy that will change the world. And that's why I'm involved.